I'm Mike.
And I'm Steve.
And you're watching COMX-TV.
Hi, I'm Tommy Gunn.
Susie Owens. Voodoo. Jacquelino.
You're watching COMX-TV.
Spider-Man, Superman, they're all coming right to you. Venom, Bud, Archie too, they will all be here for you on COMX-TV. COMX-TV. Fantasy and enemy, what's it gonna be now? Alternative and mainstream too, here every week for you on COMX-TV. COMX-TV.
Welcome to another great show. We have some great reviews today, including
Template, Coventry, and No Love Lost.
we have Aliens, Havoc, Turok, and Supergirl.
Today we have special guests in our studio. We have Henn and Gerry Coffe for Time Spell, a new comic. And we'll meet with them in a few minutes.
Excellent. There's also Check Your Comic Queue and dual review of Gunsmith Cats. So stay tuned as we bring you lots of comic fun. Let's kick off today's show with Steve's very first comic book review.
My first book today is Turok, Red Path, a one-shot from Acclaim Comics. Written by the Acclaim publisher, not Acclaim publisher, Fabian, with art by Raphael Kayanin. Tough name there. This is a new Turok story which puts him against an old talisman, which turns man against his mind and turns Turok against his best friend Barry. Can Turok save Barry and his friendship before they are both destroyed? Read this, find out.
Good question.
This is really a different type of story. It deals with real-life difficulties, which makes it very, very interesting, keeps you on the edge. The art was typical with nothing jumping out at you except for the violent-looking cover, which is really cool. It's all bloody and, you got to see it to believe it. Although I couldn't find anything spectacular about this book, I give it a good and a hot. Pick this one up.
Excellent, Steve.
Thanks, Mike.
Topping the comics news this week, Spawn. The movie did surprisingly well its opening weekend, coming in second only to Air Force One with over $21 million in box office sales. We didn't help things because we all had discounted tickets. I'm sure the fact that Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 stars had something to do with that success.
So basically, they made their money back the first weekend.
Pretty close, I think.
Definitely. Like I said, we liked it. Dark Horse has won the bidding war for Star Wars and has retained the comic book rights throughout the year 2004, ensuring them a comic piece of the pie from the next trilogy set of movies. They also end up with the Terminator license through the year 2000 and Lost in Space, which may be good depending on the big budget movie coming out.
Bob Schreck's Oni Press will feature comics written by Kevin Smith, which will feature characters and continued continuity from his films Clerks, Mallrats, and Chasing Amy. And lastly, don't forget to check out Toronto's Comic Book Expo 97, August 23rd and 24th. Guests will include
Mark Silvestri, Dale Keown, Bat, Buzz, and many more. Tickets are $9 and $15 Canadian. Call 416-761-1760 for more details. Stay tuned for more comics news later in today's show.
Template Special number 1 is from Head Press and costs $2.95. Robert Lutke wrote and drew the book. I had to get that one out.
Draw your book.
That's right. The story involves characters from his previous Template books. Mammoth Corporation created Project Template and used some of the subjects for covert espionage. Jason is one of those subjects who's broken loose and is hanging with some of his homeboys. The story has gotten somewhat more sophisticated since my last read. Although a lot of it could be traced to X-Men or Fantastic Four, the story has some decent twists of its own. The main being the change from black and white to color in mid-book. This was a part of the story, and it made for an interesting segue. Luedtke's art has improved quite a lot since the early issues. The art is cartoony and not realistic, which he achieved early on, but I don't know if it was all intentional early on. The story is passable. It's an adventure sci-fi type, and although it's not keeping you glued to your seat, it does provide entertainment, which is good. The biggest downfall I see is the $2.95 price tag. The book is still an unknown, so paying full price for a book like this is tough to justify sometimes. But give it a shot. It's worth a look as Luedtke continues to push his creativity to the limit. It's a hot. I think its popularity will continue to grow.
Still coming up, we have dual review of Gunsmith Cats. And next, our in-studio interview, not in-stew. Mike's drawing, and I'm making stew. Our in-studio interview with Rich Henn and Gerry Coffe.
So, but first, we're going to check your comic queue.
This is a tough one. What comic does Joe Matt draw and write?
That's right.
Yes.
Later on in the show, we'll give you that answer, and we'll be back in a moment with our in-studio guests. Okay, we'd like to welcome our first in-studio guest that we've had in quite a long time. We've got Rich Henn, Gerry Coffe. How are you today?
Good. Fine, thanks.
Great. Now, you've got a brand new book coming out. You got an Ashcan edition here.
Yes.
It's called Time Spell, right?
Right. That's right.
So you want to tell us a little bit about the book?
Sure. Well, Time Spell is something that's actually been playing around in, gosh, my head for about 10 years now. I started working on it a little bit when I was in college. Kind of lost track of it just trying to get out of college. And then I only just started up again this past year. I was really interested in self-publishing something before the end of the year. And I picked it up and started doing it. And my friend Gerry Coffe here, he actually went to the Joe Kubert School of Graphic Arts and Animation. And I knew his stuff, I was very familiar with it, and the guy's a genius as far as I'm concerned. He's very talented. And I called him up and I said, hey, you want to do this with me? He's like, sure. So we're putting it together. Will be out in time for the Small Press Expo in about another 4 weeks, and then the #1 issue will debut at the Mid-Ohio Con. The unique thing mostly about my book is that unlike other black and whites and independents, it's going to have a 99-cent cover price on it.
Really?
I've decided that that was the best way to market it, to get it out there to the public, because I don't think comics should cost you more than your lunch.
So you're not, okay, you were selling these for 99 cents
No,
too.
these are free.
Oh, those are free, but the book is going to be 99.
The book itself.
Oh, wow, I missed that part when you sent that me.
No, the actual 32-page comic will be 99 cents.
Whoa.
And I want to try and stay on a bi-monthly schedule if I can. It's going to be tough, but I think Gerry and I can pull it off.
Yeah. Do you have any previous comic experience other than this?
I did some background work for a couple anchors here and there. Worked a little bit up in the production offices of Marvel a couple years ago. And we both met working for a company called American Color, who does color separations for Marvel, other small publishers, well, not so small publishers too.
Yeah.
So that gave us the practical background we needed to get into publishing.
Now, you guys are both local boys. You don't live in Buffalo anymore, right?
No, I live in Maryland now.
And you still live in the area.
That's right.
And you work for American Color. Now,
That's right.
it's something, we got these companies right here in Buffalo that do some stuff for the big names in the industry.
And people don't know about it. That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, that shot my next question is how you guys meet. But, he read my mind.
Yeah.
Could you give us a little bit about the story itself? You know, give us, you know, maybe where you plan on taking it.
Well, basically, the storyline opens up with a homicide detective, Michael McMurphy, is on a stakeout looking for a serial killer. The story takes place in Manhattan. It initially was supposed to take place in Buffalo. I've decided, I used a lot of background shots from Manhattan. I thought that Hell's Kitchen, you know, the whole structure of it looked really well for the setting. So to try and impose a little bit of Buffalo into it, I'm having a lot of places, streets, and restaurants in the story, like Gabriel's Gate, you know, things like Bull Feathers, different bars and stuff, to kind of give it a Buffalo feel, but still take place in Manhattan. The serial killer is known as the Cradle Robber. He kills pregnant women and leaves a tape recording of Rockabye Baby next to the corpse. They're looking for him, and when they pick him up and they arrest him and they bring him in, By the end of the first issue, he's broken out of jail by a mysterious person who later on in the story will turn out to be our major antagonist. Without revealing too much more, it also revolves a little bit around the coming millennium. I use a little bit of Nostradamus' prophecies in the storyline. I try to give it credibility. It's the guy that's co-writing it with me, Russell Colchimero, calls it actually the Thinking Man's Action Horror Comic. I also have Ben Ray of previous Fan Magazine, who's going to be editing the story for me.
Oh, great.
And that's gosh, I really can't think of anything else without giving it away.
Yeah. So there's no end to the story at this point. You've got it can continue.
I see it as probably about 12 issues.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try and contain it to 12 issues.
Right.
I don't think I could go much more than 2 years on working on this thing before I, got tired. But as far as like any kind of influences, Matt Wagner was a big influence on me. I thought Mage was like a genius, piece of work. Dave Sim was really the guy that got me interested in self-publishing to begin with.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think. Well, that's great. 99 cents. I mean, at 99 cents, there's no way you can buy any book for 99 cents.
Nope.
Even the garbage. I mean, we've got some garbage on our table.
We've been arguing.
I'm not trying to say yours is garbage, but I mean, even the
we've been
junk
arguing that point since we've been on there about the price of books, how much they're outrageous, and how kids can afford them. But this is great for 99 cents, definitely.
Well, guys, thanks a lot. We wish you a lot of luck with this book.
Yes.
And we're going to do whatever we can to help you out here.
Great.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll be
right back. Hey, hey. My next book is from Dark Horse Comics, titled Aliens Havoc #1 of 2, written by Mark Schultz and art by 23 different people. It's a $2.95 book. An investigation team is sent to find out why a personnel freightliner has gone offline with Earth. Are these people being sent to their deaths, or are they being taught how to destroy the aliens by a friendly ghost named Gorofis Lazenko? The story was definitely a game of cat and mouse between aliens and humans to see who can eliminate each other first. The art is excellent. So many different styles, it keeps your interest up. It was a definite gimmick that I think will pay off with all the artists in here. It's something you usually don't see with 23 different artists doing their own style on one certain book. This book is a hot. I got to pick this one up. This one's definitely something to hold on to and get.
Steve thinks the book is hot.
And there's definitely, there's one in there that looks like Joe Matt's artwork in there. There's a page in there.
Yeah, that's Peter Bagg. That's hate.
Yeah, it looks, I think they should draw a whole Aliens book like that because it looks so cool. It was definitely a different style you don't see.
I know, I had to check who that really was myself.
It looked really cool.
No Love Lost is a 52-page book by Ariel Bordeaux. I guess her name is how you say
Bordeaux.
it. Bordeaux. Bordello.
Bridget Bordeaux.
Like Bordello. From Drawn and Quarterly at a cost of $6.95. Whoa! That seems like quite a lot to pay for just a comic book, doesn't it? I think so. Well, people, there are good ones and there are bad ones, and they don't cost a quarter anymore. Is this a good one? Well, it's not that unique anymore. There are plenty of these autobiographical type comics out now. I'm starting to get sick of them. The packaging for this book is nice. It's square bound and glued, what do you call it?
On the backbone.
Yeah, glued backbone, yeah. Ariel's art is very simple and very artsy. Each page is 4 panels except for the splash page narrations. Unlike my earlier book, Template, her art is not so much cartoony as almost childlike. It may be her style, but I definitely find it a bit different. The story revolves around Emma and Jed and their relationship. It's your typical love-hate relationship, etc. stuff. Later in the book, they split up, and the story follows in different parts of their stories. So the bottom line, is this book good? Is it worth $6.95? Well, I read it and I didn't get bored. I think it's a good book to turn on some non-comics people to. It's similar to a pocketbook in price. It reminded me kind of a teenage love story, which I have no desire to read about because I'm far from a teenager. Find a teen, give it to them. They might like this book. If you're over 25, I don't think you'll like it. Pass it on. It's an excellent gift at $6.95.
Ooh, but was it worth it?
Not for myself.
Okay.
Don't
Not,
buy it yourself. That's
not,
else buy it.
not much of a teenager, huh?
Not anymore.
Okay. Don't forget, you can write us here at Comics TV at P.O. Box 220, Buffalo, New York, 14225, or email us at comixtv@localnet.com.
Excellent.
Excellent.
The Small Press Expo in Silver Spring, Maryland, Saturday, September 20th, is turning out to be a who's who of independent creators, from the famous to the unknown, for this one-day extravaganza. We've got Jeff Smith, Charles Vest, Roberta Gregory, local boy Mike Deasy, and you heard Rich is going to be there from Time Spell. Is Gerry going to be there? Just Rich is going to be there because that's his neighborhood now. And there's going to be dozens more.
On Friday the 19th, the infamous Mike...
Infamous.
Infamous. I got yelled at earlier for that. Infamous Mike Diano will be giving a lecture. If you can make one event, this is the one to be at.
The Comics TV News is brought to you in conjunction with the Comic Book Electronic Magazine. Still coming up is the Dual Review, and the answer today is check your Comic Q question. But first, here's Steve with another comic book review.
Supergirl, number 14, is a preview of the book coming out this week from DC Comics. Written by Peter David, with art by Leonard Kirk and Cam Smith. This is the very first Supergirl story I've ever reviewed, and I must say I really, really liked it. Supergirl has to contend with a new superhero she cannot see or catch, and to top it off, she has to deal with her parents thinking and calling her a freak because of her superpowers. Freak! Hey, you freak! Peter David's writing is excellent. This is something new for me and for other readers, definitely. The artwork is okay, nothing unusual, nothing special, nothing jump out at the book at you, which, if it did, probably cost more than $2.95 anyways. They wouldn't call her a freak if it jumped off the book, because he'd kill you. This story refers back to several times to previous issues to provide some consistency. Also, you have to go by back issues to keep up with this one. But I'm still giving this one a hot. Pick this one up. I think you're really going to like it.
Excellent.
Excellent, dude.
Bill Willingham brings us Coventry Book 2 from Fantagraphics Books. This book costs $3.95. That's a lot for all of 25 pages of story. The book is for mature readers, so no kids will be reading this one. This is a crazy book involving an imp named Beazle who escapes from captivity after 300 years. Sama Shedurayala is a missing angel who had been responsible for random deaths of humans, but he started killing in patterns. He killed a whole family in different parts of the city in one day. He killed 13 people named Bob one day. The next day, all his subjects were killed by garbage trucks. No longer with these random acts, he was bringing attention to himself. Private Eye Leslie Maxwell is hired by an angel of death to find him before anyone else does. I was ready to give this a thumbs down, a not hot, nothing, but after rereading and thinking about it, it is an excellent book. There are more plot twists than I thought. The glossary also helps decipher who's who. Willingham's art is very good. Compare this to like Stephen King's The Green Mile, which came out in a comic book fashion, which was like every 6 weeks, and you've got a very, very good book. I give this one a hot.
And now, the answer to today's Check Your Comic Q. What comic does Joe Matt write and draw?
And the answer is Peep Show. That's right. If you knew Peep Show, then you must be a comic book genius. Or else you read too many comics, which there's probably a lot of people out there that do that.
Very much so.
Next, we've got the Dual Review. Today's Dual Review brings us Gunsmith Cats Shades of Grey, number 205 from Dark Horse Comics at $2.95. I think everyone is stuck on this darn $2.95 price tag. Basically, we've got Rayleigh and May tailing the Bean Bandit and Gray.
This has been ongoing. This story where they've been tailing them has been going on for, I think, like 9 or 10 issues already. But it's actually a very, very good story because every time they catch up with Gray, which is like a master criminal in Japan, he has some way of getting out of jail. Bail, screwed up in the court systems and this and that. But Gray wants to kill Rayleigh and May. Now, Rayleigh has this awesome 68 Cobra SS GT Mustang. It is absolutely awesome with turbocharger and everything. He goes out and buys one too, has it souped up, so he can keep up with her. Well, they end up getting in another high-speed battle chase. Well, Bean Bandit and Gray end up capturing May, and they're holding her hostage in the car, and Raleigh is just furious about this. She wants her back, and they're doing everything. But along comes these assassins trying to kill Gray, other than Raleigh, if you can understand what I'm saying right now. And it's like both of them have to combine forces to destroy these assassins trying to kill them.
Now, aren't the assassins in the semi?
The assassins are in a semi, which also has a supercharger in it because they know how fast their cars can go. And it's really cool. But May, of course, having her little bags of tricks, she's always got high explosives on her, cute little kid. She ends up throwing concussion grenades out and blows this thing up and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to spoil the story, but it's a really good story. I really enjoy this series. It's a little erotic here and there. They've got some erotically drawn pictures in there, but most of the Japanimation does.
They show panties.
Hey,
so anyhow, the story's okay. There's a lot of... That's erotic. there's a lot of big splash pages. A lot of big splash pages. I mean, there's a lot of... The drawing is excellent. I mean, the pictures of these cars are very good.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Whoever drew this definitely did their homework on drawing these cars, because
the same person that wrote it, that we can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, well, it's 2 lines with a little cross and a Pavarotti.
But the story isn't bad, actually. You know, it's like an anime manga type.
This is something I'd definitely like to see on like the Sci-Fi Channel series made out of this. It would definitely be a good series too.
Yeah, they've had that on Animation Week. There's been a lot of animation on. And this is definitely one of those. It's like you could take this and throw this in a movie. It'd be the same.
And you definitely enjoy it. I got to give this one a hot. I really enjoy this one. Thumbs up on this one. Good series.
I would give it a hot, but at $2.95, unless they're paying for the translation and everything. I don't think $2.95 it's worth it.
But they did pay for the translation.
Well, I'm saying, unless they had to pay this guy a lot of money, for $2.95, I don't think it was worth it.
And I think it was worth it. I think
Black and white.
that this book actually is a lot better than a lot of the mainstream garbage that's floating around out there.
Yeah, not bad. It's got a decent story, but then again, it's not much different. It's got a lot of just a lot of action, chase scene. So what makes it different than a Spider-Man, Doctor Doom thing? I mean,
a good female heroine.
Oh well. So anyway, I'll give that book a knot.
And I give it a hot thumbs up.
Thanks for tuning in this week. We hope you enjoyed today's show. I'd like to thank Rich Henn and Gerry Coffe of Timespell for coming down, paying us a visit, and letting us see their new book. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Let us know what you think. Contact us here at COMX-TV. Coming next week, a dual review of Ghost and an interview with Rob Davis, former Star Trek artist. I am Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Steve Prisbilla. And as we say each and every single week, which I seem to always screw up with my new lips, reading is your best investment. So when you visit that local comic book store, tell them you've seen us on
COMX-TV,
the world's best comic book.